Come on, come on. Hey, we went live. Is it working though? That's the question. Oh, I can see the chat on that side. That's good. I should move it this way though. Let's move chat that way. So I can see chat, so I can see my levels, I can see my screen. We are live. I like. Hey, good evening everybody. Afternoon, evening. Hey, close enough. It's Monday. I've got a Godok shirt. It is awesome. Anyway, this will just be a fast, nice little fun live session so we can go through all the photos you guys submitted for feedback. Because you know, we like to give feedback on stuff and it helps you guys grow and helps me see some cool work that you guys have done as well. So this episode of Doing Whatever is sponsored by my big old Godox SL60 because it gives me the light to do the thing and does the thing really nice. So anyway, let's jump over to my other screen so we can have a look at all the photos you guys have submitted, and not only have a look at the photos that have been submitted, but now we also get to give you some feedback in that regard as well, because yes, it's been one of those I need to take a shave to do some work kind of weeks, so that was fun. That's quite fun. But apart from that, I hope you guys are having a awesome one on your side, and then we can start the session, get live. We can, if you've got questions, as always, drop them down below in the comments and we shall sort you out. Questions regarding not only feedback on your photos, but as well gear tips and anything else you can think about. So let's jump straight into it and go to my lovely little page and find the post we did. There you go. 40 replies. That's quite a lot. We like when people reply. And we will now find some photos to start with. Let's open this up in a new tab so it's nice and big, so we can find some photos, save them, high quality, just make it nice and easy. So let's go all this first. Yes, previous. Stan Lyon sent us a lovely photo of a lady by a waterfall. I do like waterfalls. That's a nice waterfall. Waterfalls are fun to work with. But now, let's open this image in a new tab so we can zoom in, see some details. Because it's important to see detail, because when we can see detail, we can then tell you what the editing and things that you can look out and adjust and such as well. So on this specific photo, which was submitted by Stan, evening Mr. Stan, if you do see this video. If not, it's fine. Maybe you see it some other time. But anyway, so on his photo, what we can see is he's got some weird colored fringing lines. I need to save this. There we go. Where did that save? Nope, that did not save properly at all, so that doesn't work. Anyway, we'll just keep going via this one. So, as you can see on his photo, we have some weird green artifacts. Now, that is normally, you get those weird green fringing lines and artifacts on high contrasting edges, especially when you shoot a lens wide open. So, as an example, if you shoot this photo at f1.8, you will get those little fringing lines. It's just something that happens with lenses. But if you take that same 50mm lens and you stop it down to f2.8 or even f4, yes, you'll have less blur in the background, but that will remove all of these fringing lines for you. Also, when you stop down a little bit, you will have sharper photos. As an example, a lens is never the sharpest wide open, but when you stop down your lens to f2.8, f4, f5.6 even, things do tend to sharpen it up quite a bit, which is awesome because we like sharp photos. So on his photo, the photo itself, the lady, she looks lovely makeup going on the lady as well. But the thing that is a little bit odd is when you chop off fingers. See at the bottom of the frame, you can always just go a little bit wider, include that little bit extra detail, simply due to the fact that she is wearing a dress with a lot of detail on it. So rather show the detail, include the hand, not chop it off by the fingertips, because that's always bad, and then that will help you just even out the frame a little bit. Now, apart from the shooting, editing is also very important. Excuse me. So as an example, on his edit, the thing that draws a lot of attention is the green in the background, as well as the blue tint on the background as well. So normally an easy way to sort this out is to just jump into Photoshop, and I can show you that. If I can go save as, download, Open up my Photoshop, drag my Photoshop over. Wait, no, I need to fix my Photoshop. Why are you doing this, Photoshop? I was busy editing some stuff. So let's go open, and let's see, where did that save? Let's go new folder 4. Nope, I think it was new folder 3. Sort by, date modified. Where did that save that photo? Downloads. Ah, there we go, found it. Apologies, I just need to find the stuff that I download because I have way too much stuff on my PC. There you go, now we'll open them up. There you go, cool. So let's have a look at how we can fix this photo. So when in Photoshop, you can have a look at all the little blues in the background, and we can fix those by just going to a adjustment layer on the right hand side and hue saturation, which will then add a hue saturation adjustment for us. And on this, we can then just select the little picker tool, the hand tool, the drag tool, and move over to the blue tones. Hold down the leftmost button, and you can move it to the right to increase the saturation, move it to the left to decrease saturation. Now on this one, we're going to decrease it as well. After we've decreased the saturation on that one, we can then also mask only that specific area, because we've now adjusted the blue. It is affecting a lot of the photo, so we can mask it out, but for this time it looks fine. Now the greens will be next. We can do exactly the same thing. Adjustments, hue saturation, grab the little hand tool or picker tool, grab the greens and move left to desaturate them slightly further. There we go, nice. And just by making small little adjustments like those, we are now able to remove the distracting background elements and just keep more focus on our subject, because after all, this is a portrait. Things need to be about the subject. Now, when I spoke earlier in regards to chopping off the fingers as well, you can simply crop this photo, and we can come in a little bit closer. There we go, like that, and a little bit like that as well. There you go. See, now it just looks a little bit better as well. There's more focus on the subject, because if you want to capture the scene, just go a little bit wider and allow yourself some room to edit with that as well. So it's not a bad photo. We shall now jump to the next one. So remember, when you take your photos, framing is important. Do not chop off your fingertips in random places, and keep an eye on your background saturation. The blues on the background of this one especially is a little bit over the top, as well as the greens. They draw too much attention away from your main subject. So let's go to the next one. Next one is by Kay. It's a lovely photo of a delivery dude. We like delivery dudes. They make life so nice, so easy. So on this photo, for one, the exposure is a little bit off. Now this normally happens when you take photos in direct sunlight. Now direct sunlight is a light source, but it isn't a very good light source, unfortunately, for the simple fact that with the very, very, very bright sun, you get all of this stuff. So let's save that and then open that in Photoshop. Open. There you go. So as an example, when you take a photo in direct sunlight, what you will see is very harsh highlights on the one hand side. Let's grab a brush. What color is that? No, I want that to be red so it's easier to see. There you go. There you go. So when you take photos in direct sunlight, you will get very harsh highlights on the one side of your subject normally, and on the opposite side of your subject you will get very dark and deep shadows, which will then remove detail for you. Also, when you take photos in direct sunlight, it becomes very difficult to actually capture skin tones properly, because harsh light makes it difficult to work with skin tones. So always just move them into the shade, or in this specific case, because it is a lovely photo of a delivery dude, we can simply go adjustment layer, and we will make this black and white. There you go, sorted, fixed in quotation marks. Now the reason black and white works better for photos like this is very simple. With black and white, you focus on light, the direction of light, and how the light affects your entire photo. Whereas if you have color tones, then your skin tones and things like that, those become more apparent. And if you've got problems on those, you will see them very, very easily. but this as just a run and gun photo is not a bad photo. It's just for editing that needs a little bit of work. You can always just drop the highlights on the skin tones a little bit more, which will then allow you to receive a little bit better overall skin tones on your entire frame. Also, it's important to remember when you export your photos, export them correctly for social media sizes. So in the case where you're working with Photoshop as an example, you can just go File and then just select Export, Export As. In the block that opens up, we will then resize this photo appropriately for social media use. So we're going to go Quality High, Format JPEG, and then the largest size between your width and height we will change to 2048, and that will resize the photo appropriately for social media use, which will then allow you to retain more detail when you post. Because unfortunately, yes, I am saving photos directly from Facebook, which will reduce the quality anyway, but you can retain more quality and more detail by simply uploading a little bit higher resolution photo. But overall, photo is not bad for a random street photo. It is really good. You can always just go black and white, which will help you work better with your highlights and shadows, because that is also important. You need to keep your highlights and shadows in mind, especially when you're shooting in direct sunlight. But I would never recommend anybody shoot in direct sunlight unless you know what you're doing. Just find some shade, get some nice skin tones, and work from there. Just make life easy for yourself. Things don't need to be difficult, my friend. Things can be nice and easy. Nice photo though, I like it. Next photo. Something made a ping on my phone. No idea what that was. Anyway, next photo is also by Kay, and it is a direct sun photo again. So, same thing as before. It's an awesome photo. The gentleman looks really, really fun to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up Paint. Move that over to here so I can show you what has happened here. Let's move that way, there you go. So your subject is located there, and your camera is located from the bottom, from that side, and the sun is coming in from behind you, shining onto the subject. So the sun is that side, shining there. Now what happens with this is, hey my guy, please do one of mine. Yes, Bruce, dude, I'm gonna find one of yours next. Now we will do yours next. So in regards to the way that Kay shot this photo, the problem comes in that the sun was directly on the subject again, which gives very horrible skin tones to work with. But this is very easy for him to fix. All he needs to do is move himself and move his subject, if he really can only shoot in one specific location. Subject will be this side. Oh, that's a bad drawing. There you go. Subject will be this side, and he will actually shoot into the sun. That is a horrible squiggly. What the hell? There you go, squiggly. See, because if you change your position and have your subjects back towards the sun, then that allows you to then expose for the skin tones and just get better overall skin tones, because direct sunlight does destroy skin tones unless you know what you're doing. So same as before, same with the previous one, you can go black and white, should save it up just fine for you. But before we do anything, let's find a photo of Bruce quickly. Bruce, where is Bruce? I believe he did submit a couple. Let's check his profile picture. It looks like that, so it should be easy to find. That's a lot of photos. Let's scroll back up. Maybe it's on one of the shared posts. Let's have a look. That's zip. Bruce, I'm not seeing your photos, my friend. Did you post them down below, or where did you post them? Then I can go find them quickly. Let's just open up his profile. Let's have a look. Zoop. Hi, Bruce. And then, do we see? I don't. Okay, it's fine. What I'm going to do is, Bruce, I'm going to go to your page, and we're going to have a look at some of your work. That way we can look at it together, and I can give you some feedback. Some rugby stuff, we did do that, which was kind of fun. And let's go to your photos, Bruce's photos, and here we can see some photos. So if we go down from the top, we can see a whole bunch of fun ones, but let's go to black and white, because I love black and white photos. They're so much fun. So Bruce, is this a photo of yourself, or is this a photo that you've taken or somebody has taken of you? Just let me know, because I see there's a couple of them with the same subject. Actually, it's just the same photo, just posted multiple times, so that's not a problem. Let's open that one up in the corner of me. Okay, that's a photo of you. I need to find one which you took. So let's see if I can find one. This one, 2, and let's go down, and 3, that might be somebody else, and there's another one. See, this is why, let's use the top left. I took that. Top left, top left, top left. There you go, the silhouette photo. Silhouette photos are fun to work with. So when it comes to silhouette photos, and you take a photo of it, keep in mind that you might have missed with your brush. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's save. Using a remote. Oh, it's a selfie with a remote. Clever boy, clever. I tried that a couple times and I always fail. I hate remotes. So we're going to work on your silhouette photo because this is an easy one to work with. Let's see, I am on a red, that's fine. So when you do silhouette photos, it is also very important that you keep an eye on the light itself. So as an example, if you go to the bottom of your frame, it looks like the background was basically brushed in the white of it. If that is the case, you might want to just adjust your layering, because you see if we've got the nice sharp edge, sharp edge, sharp edge, sharp edge, and then we go soft edge. That looks like it was a brush stroke. So always remember, when you do brush things in Photoshop as well, you can, as an example, let me use the red. So this is the red, but we can use a larger brush to get a softer effect on one side, or even larger brush to get that. So let's do it like this so I can show you easily. So we're going to go large brush first, and next to it we're going to go a small brush. So let me show you what you can do. So notice between my two brushes, with the large brush we've got a nice even fall off between the dark area to the light area. But on the small brush it is very harsh. It's a very hard brush. So when you do use your brush in Photoshop, instead of just using a small brush to do very precise work, instead use a larger brush, which will give you better fall off, and then you can do it like that, which will give you much easier, much more pleasing fall off when you brush things in. Now silhouette photos are very difficult to do. Well, not that difficult, but they are difficult to get correct. So this is not a bad example of it, but it does need a little bit of work. There's a little bit of background stuff going on, which we do always need to take care of cleaning up the background, because your background is as important as your subject. Having a decent subject to take a photo of is just one thing, but if your background is dirty or has random little spots on it or things as such, it might take away detail from the entire frame itself. So it's always important. Yes, it's fun to work on the subjects, but just take a minute or two, jump into Photoshop or Lightroom or whichever software you use, and just find all of these dirty spots and just clean them up, because as soon as you clean all those up, the entire frame just looks more clean overall, which will help things out quite a bit. Now for the photo itself, it is quite good, but I might have said crop in a little bit from the left, like this. There you go. So it's a little bit more balanced, but yes, see, now we can see that white coming in a little bit too much. But yes, the reason I say crop in a little bit, it's just so you can balance out the frame a little bit more. Because currently the way that it is, your male subject is coming in from the left hand side, female subject from the right hand side, but behind your female subject you have a basically just a white little stripe thingy going down on it. We can crop it out because it doesn't really add or remove anything from the photo. So if it doesn't add to the photo and it doesn't really remove anything from the photo, we might as well just remove it to bring the focus in a little bit closer to the subject. So as an example, we can crop down a little bit like that, from the top a little bit as well. There we go, and that will just even out the frame a bit more. But now I just need to get my brush so we can just adjust this quickly. There we go, pop, 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 pop. There we go. And now using a dark brush, I can just get rid of the little whites. There we go. There you go. See? So just by cropping in a little bit and removing some distractions as well, you can bring more attention to the details of your silhouette photo, because this is a really good silhouette and you still have some nice light. We can see the hand, you can see the chest area and things as such. These are points of focus or detail. So somebody will look at these and they will look at them and they look quite good. Then what you can also do from here is we can grab your logo and just move it. So instead of having it in the corner, we want to move it maybe to the center or something as such. Because when it's in the corner, it pulls your eye away from the main subject, especially because this is a black and white style photo. So backdrop is also the softbox. I thought so. That is a awesome way to do that. So that means your softbox just has some creases in the diffusion material, which is fine. Just always keep that in mind, that when you do these types of photos in the future as well with your softbox directly in it, that your softbox does have creases, and you just need to clean those creases in Photoshop. It just takes a few seconds to do. So when it comes to signatures, I generally do not enjoy using signatures myself because they distract you from your main subjects. So as an example, with the signature in the corner left, in the bottom, it does, and it is white as well, so it does pull your attention away a little bit. You might as well bring it to the center, because in the center, where you already have all your other details, it would fit a little bit better compared to just having it in the corner where there's no other detail around it. So just keep that in mind as well, that if you do use your signatures, so that you move them to a place where they do not distract from your main subject. Instead, just add them to a, as an example of this photo, it's a really good example, because now we can, where's my thingy, we can just add it on here and it will fit much better compared to where it was in the corner. There you go, just like that. There you go, perfect. See, that fits much better compared to just having it in the corner, because now it doesn't pull our attention away from the subjects. It's a nice photo, silhouettes are fun. I haven't done one in ages. Good job, my friend, very good job. Let's see if we can just close this one. Goodbye, and then open this up again. Hi, how are you doing, Facebook? This photo of the young gentleman. Did you, Bruce, take this photo, or is this a photo of yourself? Let me know down below, and then we can have a little chat about this one as well, because I do see one or two things that I might want to point out to you in this specific photo as well. Everybody else that has joined for the viewing, hi, it's nice seeing you on a Monday. Mondays are fun. Not really, but I'm going to try and make it fun a little bit more for you. So Bruce, let me know, this photo that is currently up on screen, is this one that you took? This, an old one of you as well. Ah, dang. Bruce, you need to send me photos that you've taken. It just makes life so much easier as well, because then we can, I was skinny. Yes, food. We like food, and therefore we get less skinny. Hey, Brampton dude, how you doing? We are doing some photo stuff this evening, which is awesome. So there we go, dude. I hope that helped you out a little bit. Remember, keep an eye on your backgrounds, keep the logo in position, and just frame correctly. So if things do not add to your frame, just crop them out or move them away or do something with them. There's nothing wrong with doing that at all. So let's close this one down again, and let's jump back to here and have a look. So okay, we've done the 1, the 2, the 3. Bruce Vega, hey, there you go. Is that your photography page? That helps a lot. So that allows me to see the stuff that you do. Wasa, I see your stuff. Why is there so many videos on your stuff? Are you a... Okay, Bruce, so I'm gonna give you some cool tips, dude. When it comes to growing yourself as a photographer, as an example, you do not want random short videos that you share to your photography page. Because if you're a photographer, I want to go to your page, I want to see your photography work. If I go to your page and I see a bunch of short videos, I would literally just close it, because I'm not sure if you're a photographer or if you're a videographer or if you're just a page that reshares content. So it's very important that when you do create a page, that you are focused. If you're a photographer, keep it on track with photography related posts. If you're a videographer, same video stuff. But as soon as you start sharing random funny cat videos or things as such, then it starts to take away. This looks like advertising. We meet you in winter. That's nice. That's cool. That's cool. We'll have a look at your photos just now. Just giving you some general tips and stuff. That's a nice effect of stuff. Okay, so let's go to your photos, because I like photos so much. There you go. This is a nice effect. That's a cool effect. But with this effect that you've done, apologies, You might just want to change a couple of things. So as an example, the background that you've used, it's a nice background, but this might look better with a solid brick wall background or something such, because this is a nature scene, on the background at least. The effecting itself looks really good, and I wonder how this would look. Save. Where the hell that save? There we go, there it is. So I wonder how this would look if the background was just like this. Slip, slip, and come on. Yeah, click and click. There you go. Select, inverse, delete. That's a bad idea to do content aware delete. My bad. I might have to grab a brush for that. Ooh, that is not what I wanted to do. Let's just remove that, make it black. There you go. So as an example, because it is a nice little photo of somebody doing something, we can, let's just make that black and white, black and white. No, I want white. No, paint the white. No, paint the white. There you go. There's the white. See, so as an example, because your Facebook page has a lot of these white bordered photos at the top, you can always just keep on that same sound, do the same thing. I see you also do a whole bunch of dresses. That's a nice dress. A whole bunch of cool stuff there. There you go. Here's some photos that you've done. Let's open these 3 up so I can just show you some cool stuff there. 1, 2, and 3. Apologies. Been a long day, as they say. Okay, so let's just run through all of these real fast. So these are fine, but what you'll see is a little bit of motion blur in the hands. So as an example, on the left hand here, on the face slightly, the clothing is sharp, 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 then everything else starts to go out of focus. Same if we go to this photo as an example. Sharp, 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 hand is out of focus. So what this tells me is one of two things. Either your shutter speed was too slow, or you had motion in your camera. When you press the button on your camera, you normally do, let's grab a camera, make my face big. So if you normally take your camera and you take a photo, that action you do when you press the camera to take the photo, that tiny little movement when you press the camera, that will affect your photos if your shutter is too slow. So always keep that in mind, that when you do take photos, portraits especially, you need to keep your shutter speed at 1/125 or higher. This just simply helps even out the frame for you, as well as it removes that button press blur or something as such as well. Excuse me. Let's go to this one. This one is better because your shutter speed was perfect for this one, but this one suffers from the same thing that I see a lot of photographers suffer from. When you take photos in direct sunlight, a lot of bad things happen. You struggle to get skin tones that are proper, and not only do you struggle with skin tones, but you also struggle with subjects that, with my brush, struggle to keep their eyes open. Because the one thing that the sun does to you, which is unfortunately very, very, very bad, is it makes you squint your eyes. So your subject cannot even keep their eyes open in the sun, which means that you'll always have photos where it looks like your subject is sleepy or struggling to keep their eyes open. So keep that in mind, that when you do take photos of people in the sun and you've got no other option, turn them around, put their back towards the sun, and then expose your camera for the skin tones and work from there. That's the easiest way if you are forced to work with direct sunlight to just get better photos, is to simply turn your subject around and work with the sun behind your subject instead of the sun in front of your subject. Because sun in front of your subject will make them squint like this, and sun behind your subject will allow them to stand like this, eyes open, open. Get my point? Let's go back to the photo. So yes, that is very important to remember, is you need to keep an eye on how you position your subject, especially when you work in direct sunlight. If you're forced to work in direct sunlight, just use it to your advantage. Use the sun behind your subject, which will then give you a rim light effect on your subject, because that light behind them, or the direct sunlight behind them, will make their hair glow normally, and random things like that happen, which is a really cool effect to work with. But it is important that you do then expose correctly for the skin tones. Remember, this camera, it's a digital camera. You can take thousands of photos. It doesn't cost you anything. Just find your subject and just take photos. Just take a crap load of photos. The more you have, the better. And let me just switch it off. And the more photos you take, the higher your chances will be to not only grab correct focus, perfect focus, but it will also give you more options to work with. So if you turn your subject around and you work from the other side, take a couple of photos. If those photos do not look any good, change your position, take photos again. Don't rush it. Take your time. You've got all the time in the world, unless the subject is trying to be someplace. In that case, force them to just relax a little bit and just work with that. Nice photo, but unfortunately, due to the position of the sun being directly in front of your subject, it did make them squint, as well as it destroyed your skin tones all over the place. You've got very harsh highlights, very deep shadows, which is normally what you get when you work in direct sunlight, unfortunately. Decent photo, just needed to literally take a few steps to the side and then take the photo again, and it would have been perfect light. So let's find a next one. These are all the same. This one is a very interesting photo. Now the reason I say that is you've missed focus with your subject standing right in front of you. Now this does happen quite often, especially if you're shooting at a shallow depth of field. As example, F1, can you comment on pick? Yes, Alan, I will comment on yours next. We're doing one more for Mr. Bruce. So Bruce, this will be the last one, but when you take photos, remember your lens has a minimum focus distance, as well as when you shoot at f1.8 on your 50mm as an example, your depth of field is like this much, which isn't much at all, which means even if you just move a little bit, subject will be out of focus. So just shoot at f4 or just take a step back, shoot again, and just crop it in post. And it will just save you so much time. But yes, there you go, dude. Some couple tips to get you busy, get you moving as well. Hopefully that helped. Now let's find Alan. I know Alan did post something. Let's find him. Find Alan. A lot of people posted some really cool photos as well, which I do enjoy seeing. A lot of cool stuff people do. It's a lot of photos. Alan. There you go. I see Alan's comment. Love the lighting. It is good light, Alan. Last one. Let me refresh. Refresh. And we shall see if we can find your photo real fast, Alan. If we can't find it, we will make it find it. There we go. Let's go to comments. Scroll all the way down. Hey, there you go. There's Alan. See, it's a comment that came in while I was busy streaming, so I didn't see it. Apologies. So Alan, let's have a look at your photo that you've posted. That's a lot of detail. Dang. That is a wooden, or is that a cement statue? No, it looks like a cement statue. Awesome. Now, when it comes to your architecture photography as well, detail is important, as well as your scenery is important. So as an example with this photo, comment. What? Comment? Isn't it this one? Let's have a look, Alan. That's the one. I'm going to open that one up in the one side. Let's see if we can find another one of yours. But yes, I think it's just that one that I see. Let me refresh again. Refresh. Facebook is slow sometimes, especially when you're doing live stream stuff. Then things do tend to go a little bit missing. But yes, let's go down. Open this up again. Yeah, man, open up. There you go. Scroll all the way down. And I can only see that one. Alan, is the photo of the statue the one that you were referring to by any chance? Or did you post another one which I'm not seeing? Now comment on, that should be this photo, so that should be this one. Yes, yeah, I see it is this one. So as an example, when you take photos of statues and things such as well, it's normally fun to include a little bit more of a scene. The reason for that is that it gives you a nice idea of where the statue is, what it might be about. As well, in the background you can see this building on this side. It's not bad, but if you just take a step tiny little bit to the left, and then you can actually create a natural frame. Let me show you what I mean by that. Open this one. There you go. See, so what color is my brush? Black. Yeah, black's fine. So if you took one step to the right, I think it's too much. Yeah, it's fine, Barrington. We'll have a look at yours just now. Okay, so Alan, if you take one step to the right when you take this photo, what will happen is you'll move your subject so that it is sitting right there between these two buildings, which gives it a nice little frame which will draw the viewer in a little bit more. Your lens settings, perfect on spot, because this has a lot of detail, so you've captured the detail really well, because that is very important with statues as well. You like to see the way they were built, you like to see all the details on them and such as well. But the problem is when you gather so much detail and your background then still plays a very important role, because if your background, as the way it is now, we've got the one building coming in through here, going that way, and you just have this little black pole that side, it does look a little bit off center, which might look a little bit distracting. But what you can do even is you can literally just take a white brush and just do that. There you go. See, it's a small change, but it does have a large effect on your entire scene. Because now it looks like not only is the statue looking at the building, but the scene looks a little bit more balanced. Because just having a random, I think that might be a tower or a part of another building, I think it is, it becomes difficult to see. I think it went like that, and then this one came down like that, down to there, and that way, yes. For the shot, I would recommend that you stop your f-stop down a little bit more, f5.6, f8. Yes, it will include a bit more on the background, but that background will add to your overall scene. Because out of focus backgrounds are cool, but then you just need to remember those out of focus shapes do play an important role. So you might just want to take one step to the right, reframe your subject, and use those out of focus areas as a framing tool to basically create a nice natural frame for your subject, which will draw people in towards your subject a little bit better as well. But it is a nice shot, Alan. I've got no idea where this is. I think this is in Cape Town, where you stay, I think. Might be. Nice statue. I like it. It's a cool statue. We should do a photo shoot there sometime when I come down to Cape Town again. Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, so let's jump back to this one. Refresh again, because Facebook's doing something weird, so we need to refresh. So Brighton, since you're here as well, let's find one of your photos. You did say you just posted it now, so let's find that quickly for you. No, that was that one. Here we go. Yes, Ellen, so the statue photo is a really nice photo. I do like it, especially in black and white. It just works so much better in black and white. I would actually print that and put it on my wall, because I do like to put stuff on my wall in the office. It is really cool, and I do like abstract photos like those, especially because they do work really good. So let's go down to Mr. Brighton. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm not very good at pronunciation of names. Two photos, this photo and this photo. This photo I would scrap because this is a better photo. So let's scrap this one. Let's download this one. And let's open it in Photoshop. Oh, that one. There you go. Hi. Okay, so Mr. Brighton, this is a lovely photo. What were your camera settings? Let me ask you that while I start to have a look at this and give you some feedback. So, when you work with a female subject, your camera angle plays a very important role. So when you shoot down, looking up towards a subject like this, you would normally expect a strong type of subject. So either a male subject doing sports as an example, or a female subject playing the guitar or something such, a very pronounced strong figure in the frame. That's normally when you would have a lower angle shooting up. Dancers as well, they work awesome while dancing and you shoot low looking up at them. Awesome photos like that as well. But for a female subject in an evening dress, you want a higher camera angle shooting down towards your subject. Now this will help make the subject look softer, which they will be because they're in an evening dress. They don't want to be very dominant in the frame, they want to be submissive in the frame. So that goes for male and female subjects. If you've got a male subject in a soft blue suit, try shooting a high angle. Low angles work, but not for all subjects, especially not for female subjects, because now what she's doing is she's tilting her head down towards the camera, and that's taking the neck and pushing the skin back, and it makes it look like she has a thick neck area. Because once you move your head down, that area starts to basically bulk up because you're flexing muscle. But once you just lift your head up again, you can just sit there at home, do that yourself, move your head up and down, and then you'll see that when you work with a camera angle down with your subject looking at the camera, then they will actually force themselves to have a fat neck, which is not very pleasing to a female subject. Female subjects, you normally want nice and elegant lines on them. For this, you would normally go a little bit higher on the camera so they can chin up slightly, which will soften the neck down and straighten up just so much better as well. So camera angle is extremely important when you're working with your female subjects, especially when they wear really nice dresses like this. Secondly, once you've managed to get your camera angle correctly, the next thing you want to do is correct your editing. So what I mean by that is distracting things in the background, remove them when you edit. So this little bush in the back, I need to change my brush color. Nope, wrong button. Hey, nope. There we go, white. So as an example, this little bush, this little area there, and this line which isn't going perfectly straight, all create areas of distraction. So I would, in this case, take a few minutes. Since you are going to be shooting higher, you're going to include more of the palisades in the back. So just move the trampoline out of the way if it is possible at all, and then move the subject closer, and then shoot from there. And that should help you just clean up the frame a little bit more, make the subject more pronounced in the frame. As well, it will remove all of these random distracting bits. Then also just make sure the camera is level, because when you have lines going from the one side to the other side of the frame and they're not perfectly straight, it normally looks like your camera might have been a bit skew. I know your camera wasn't skew, it was straight because the ground is straight, but just remember with walls especially, once you get little skew bits on the wall, then that will happen to you. But out of the two photos that you've posted, I would simply remove the other photo, because this one doesn't really, it's a fine photo, there's nothing wrong with it, but when you put the two together side by side, the one with the female standing, I think load shedding just started. I've got batteries, I don't care. Let me just check my volume. Things look fine. There we go. Things look fine still, at least. No background noise. Very nice, very nice, yes. So between your two photos, the one with the female looking away from the camera and the one with the female looking at the camera, together they don't really work very well. Separately they're fine, but once you put them together as a set, they don't really fit very well. So with the female standing, you might just add a couple more photos from that same location, different angles, different heights of camera and things as such, to get a nice consistent set of photos when you do work with them. For the lady sitting with her back towards you, you can put that photo by itself or do something else with it, but unfortunately it doesn't show anything very specific. So it does show the female subject, but she's not looking at the camera, there's no engagement or anything as such. It just looks like you aimed at subject, press the button, take photo without subject knowing, which is, it does happen with events, people will not look at the camera, but in cases like those you can just quickly go, excuse me, and she will look at you and then take a photo, because that way, thank you so much, I have learned a lot in a few minutes. You're more than welcome, my dude. Remember, camera angles, very important. Never forget your camera angles, because low angle looking up, it doesn't work very well with female subjects, unfortunately. So let's go to somebody else. Good photos, by the way, Barrington, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just your camera angle which is very important, and the second photo, I wouldn't even bother posting that one. It is still a decent photo, the subject might like it, but on your photography page, you only want your best work. One black and white last one. Okay, throw your black and white up, my dude. Let's have a look at your black and white photo real fast. And then I need to move on to the other people as well, because we've got a crap load of photos, which is nice. I do like all the photos. They make life so very nice. Let's scroll down, scroll. Hey, there you go. There's a black and white one with a bush. Scroll. There you go, found it. Hi, oh, it's a birdie that's hiding in the bushes. Let's save it. That's fine, dude. Everybody gets it wrong. You can call me Ben or Banana or anything. I don't care. I'm not that picky when it comes to names. You can literally call me anything. Okay, so a nature photo. I do like nature. Let me just readjust my seat for myself. So nature photos are quite fun to play with. But remember, when you do black and white, instead of doing selective color and desaturation, Photoshop has a black and white filter by just going adjustments, black and white. Now the reason I say this is the black and white itself is fine, but it is being distracted by the green on the background. So with the green on the background, that tells me that you might have used desaturation to create your black and whites, which is a good way to go about it. But just always remember to keep an eye on your background and the random other colors. Because unfortunately, when you do it that method, then you might miss random spots. The vignette is also a little bit very hard, because if I zoom out, like, ooh, that's a bit too much. Let's just draw on it. See, so your vignette, which let's just go to white. So your vignette on both sides, it might be a little bit. If opening later, can I ask? Yeah, sure, Alan. Post your stuff down below, Alan, on the other one, and I will get to it after this one. It's not a problem at all, dude. It's always fun interacting with you guys and helping what I can. So, Brenton, when it comes to your vignettes, remember that if you add it too much and your vignette becomes very pronounced, then it will take away more than add to your scene. So as an example, with a scene like this, a vignette doesn't really work that well because you have some sky in the background and you've got twigs. The twigs are normally very detailed, so once you add a vignette on it, you will see the light, you will go to the dark, and it will not fit or blend very well. That's why the vignette thing is good for portraits, but it's a little bit more difficult when you move on to different subject matters. So as an example, bird photography, awesome way of taking photos, but vignettes, they don't really add that much to it, so I would just skip the vignette altogether. Now as for your subject, what size is this? That's a decent size. I see you did a 1:1 crop at 1365 pixels. You can always just export a little bit bigger, just helps Facebook love your stuff a bit more. But yes, so very important though, when you do black and white, you need to be aware of your green bits and other bits in the background and such, because those colored bits, they remove. So I'm going to circle them all for you. There's one hiding up there, there's one hiding there, one hiding there, there, and there as well. See, so from your black and white photo, all the white lines, those are lines that are still colored. So remember, when you do desaturation for your black and whites, you might miss those spots. So the best way to do your black and white conversion in Photoshop is to open up Photoshop, open your photo, and on the right hand side you've got properties and your adjustments. And in your adjustments you actually have just a little black and white adjustment layer which you can add on, which will make everything black and white, and then you can adjust the amounts of it as well. You can also go to the top, click filter, and it should have a black and white filter in there somewhere. I've never found it, but it should be there somewhere. I don't know, but yes. So the easiest way to do your black and whites properly is to just use the black and white adjustment layer and work from there. It just saves you time, and not only does it save you time, but now you'll see this is a proper black and white. If I switch off the layer, and you will see a little green popping on the background as well, and now it's gone. See, easy and fast. So yes, my dude, it's not a bad little photo of a birdie. I do like birds. I do not do bird photography myself because I am bad at it. Plus I don't have the reach on my lenses for it, unfortunately. But it's not a bad shot. Just to remember, do your black and whites properly, your conversion, as well as tone down the vignette. It's very important. The vignette will kill photos for you if it's too heavy-handed. So Alan did say he wants to post a color photo. Let's see if we can find that one quickly. And let's go back. Let's refresh, see if we can find it quickly. So, hope you guys are having an awesome week, by the way. It's Monday for now. It will be not Monday soon, so that's good. That's really good. We like that. Let's see. Okay, so Alan hasn't posted yet, so let's continue on with somebody else's work. Kay has posted a lot of photos, but they all have the similar thing in common. They all are direct sunlight with the subject facing towards and into the sun, which makes it extremely difficult to get good skin tones on your subjects, unfortunately. Really cool, Andrew. Thanks for this. Dude, it's fine, Mr. Stanley. It is always happy to help everybody out where I can. I'll see if you've got photos down below, and I will get to them just now. So for Kay, it is very important that he remembers or keeps in mind that when he does work with his subjects in direct sunlight, that he does need to move his subjects away from the sun. So don't look directly into the sun with the subject. Put your back towards the sun for the subject and shoot towards your subject. Not your thoughts on mine. Let's find yours, my friend. Mr. Stanley, let us find it. This is so informative. Bruce, it is always happy to help you guys learn stuff and grow and just become better. Oh, there you go. I saw this photo. It's a nice one. It's a nice one. I was waiting for this one. Let's open it up and save it. And we're going to open it on this one. There we go. This looks like it was from a wedding. Weddings are super annoying for me to do because I hate doing weddings. They are so annoying, but they do give you some awesome photos. The subject's makeup looks like it was done quite well. Now, very important, Mr. Stanley. Wait, is this Stanley's photo? Let me just double check. Yes, this is Stanley's photo. I just need to double check because I am bad with names. So when you do the veil shot, you might want to increase the brightness on the veil itself. Now, the reason I say that is it just adds a nice little ethereal glow to it, which could add to your overall scene. But yes, disclaimer, model is 16. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with a younger model as long as you have a consent form, which I do actually have my consent forms for younger models and such as well. What I'll do is the next video I'll post, I will go through consent forms and things as such, and I'll actually post some examples which you guys can just use because they work. Consent forms, very important. So straight off the bat, you need to correct your skin tones. As an example, the skin on the face looks decent. If we move down from the face, the neck, she looks decent, but the chest, it's red. So you might want to desaturate that a little bit and add a bit of warmth to that specific area to match the skin tone between your subject's other skin to the chest skin, because it is important that you match everything up. I did have a consent form. In fact, a mom was holding the veil. That is the best thing you can do. Whenever you work with a subject, a new subject, which is not of legal age, as they say, always let them bring friends with and let them bring their mother and father and everybody else with, because you do not want to do it alone. It can be like bad for your career. Just do it safely and you should be fine. But yes, so in regards to your skin tones, especially with younger models, you will get that quite a bit sometimes, that they do a lot of work on their face and the hair and the accessories and clothing and stuff, but they forget the shoulders, the arms and the chest area, the top chest. Especially if they play a lot of sports, you'll see a lot of red sunburn like this. Now we can correct that easily, but if I look at the edit, I take it that you at least know how to edit properly, because this has been edited much better compared to other photos. But yes, just for everybody else, we can literally go into adjustment, use saturation, grab our hand picker tool thingy, click on those little reds and just desaturate them a little bit. There we go. and that will just help add to the overall scene as well. And we just want to maybe, where's my brush? Is that on white? I think that's on white. Yeah, it's on white. There you go. And we can just adjust our opacity, just to even it out a little bit better. There you go. Ah, I clicked something, something moved. That is weird. But yes, so skin tones and balancing your skin tones is very important, especially if you have a close-up shot like this, because you want to make sure everything blends in perfectly, so nothing looks off or odd or things as such, especially because with photos like this we get really up and close and you can see all the skin tones, especially on the neck, the face and all the other places, that a little red spot like that does create a point of distraction. Even though the photo itself is fine, there's nothing wrong with the photo, we just want to make those adjustments and make things look a little bit better. Now another thing you can do, which is quite a lot of fun, let's duplicate this layer, because you are working with fashion and things as such, you can just grab a dodge and burn. So where is my dodge and burn? Dodge, yes, dodge will make things light, burn will make things dark, and you can dodge and burn the accessories. So what we'll do is we're gonna make the earrings bright a little bit, like that, and like that. Now the reason we want to do this is a low quality file because I pulled it from Facebook, but it will just give it that nice little pop. Let's just adjust the opacity. There you go. See, small changes like that to your accessories can add to your overall photo, because yes, they are just earrings or metal and such, but you can do awesome things with metal subjects like earrings, watches and such if you just use a bit of dodging and burning. Add some dodging to your whites as an example and burn your metal bits to get them to look a little bit more chrome effect or such, and it just adds to the overall scene as well if you have accessories which look really nice. Because yes, it is important that you pay attention to your skin tone editing and making your subject look really good, but you also need to pay attention to your background, your accessories, especially accessories on this type of photo, because your accessories are very important still, as well as the veil is an accessory, so we can dodge and burn on that, play around with it, do some cool stuff. But yes, overall not bad. Another thing that I want to maybe recommend is to bring down the whites on the eyes just a touch. Now the reason for that is when I look at the photo zoomed out, I can still see the eyes. I can still see the eyes. The eyes are very, 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 very white. Yes, they might be white for the subject, and they might be that white due to the light that you used. I think that was a softbox and one light between 3 maybe 400 watts. Nice light. But yes, with the whites being that pronounced, you might just want to bring them down slightly just to help balance out the eyes on the scene as well. Because having super white eyes, or the iris part, like, I don't know what you call that white part in the eyes, but yes, if they are too white, they do create a point of distraction on your entire photo. Even though the photo looks awesome and people will love the photo to bits, it is still important that you as a photographer take the time to correct, do a bit of dodging and burning, and make the photo just look so much better as well, because that's what we do. 8200, ha! Knew it. 120, you can do a lot of cool stuff with 120. 120 will give you really nice light, especially the 120 parabolic. It's not a bad modifier. I currently have a 85 sitting right here with a SL60 giving me light, and I look fine. I don't look like that. I look fine. It's fine. It needs to be bigger. But yes, there you go, my dude. So very important, working your accessory editing, working your skin tone matching and blending, because that is very important. And your eyes, very, very important. Do not make those whites stand out too much. If they stand out too much, they'll become distracting, unfortunately. So yes, even though they might be this white when you take the photo, just always remember, bring them down just a tiny bit, just to help the eyes blend into the other facial features much better. So there you go, my dude. It's not a bad photo at all. Skin tones is the biggest thing. Where's my brush? There's my brush, yes. So skin tones, biggest. Why is my brush not that white? Oh, wrong layer. There you go. That's much better. So yes, skin tones. You need to make sure that you work on correcting them, balancing the skin tones out of the rest of the skin. Especially if you're going to do work on the skin, you need to be very aware of that. Even myself, I sometimes miss it and I have to re-edit some photos because I do miss it. It's just one of those things. But yes, pay very close attention to your skin tones, because if you're working with fashion type shots like this, you can always just ask whoever's doing the makeup, thank you Andrew so much for review my photos. Hey Stan dude, it is a pleasure to could have helped you, my friend. It is very nice. You do have some good stuff there as well. So Mr. Stanley dude, your photos are good, but I just need that final little push, attention to detail, to get them to the next level. Remember, small details, clients will never see the small details, but they will notice them in the overall scene once you do actually pay attention to those details. But yes, not a bad photo. You've got a larger and better one on your side, so play around with it. Drop me inbox once you're done. I would love to see how you managed to fix those skin tones, because I hate fixing skin tones, they're so annoying. But yes, let's refresh again and we can go to somebody else next. I'm sure Stan, it is so nice for you to join us as well. Let's scroll down. Ah, there's the post. Hey Ellen, you've posted another color one. Awesome, let's have a look at that one. Scroll. Ellen. Hi, ooh, that's a lot of detail. Ellen, where is this location where you've got all this artwork and stuff going around? It's a very interesting location. Ah, color, my arch nemesis. I'm not very good at color photos, but yes, let's save this one so I can show Alan a few cool things. So, it's cool, Mr. Stanley. You are more than welcome for the feedback, my dude. It's literally the small things. You'll be surprised at how small changes can have a huge impact on your photos. As an example, glasses. If somebody wears glasses, zoom in, use a bit of dodging and burning on the frame itself, and just see the effect you get afterwards. It is a huge difference. Definitely have a look at it. So, Mr. Stan, sorry, not Stan, apologies. Mr. Allen. Love the photo, would have liked to, no, not white, black, yes, black. So first things first, with the photo of this, we want to remove anything that might creep into frame. So as an example, at the top, right, we've got this little twig. I would use a clone stamp to just remove the little twig, because it just cleans up the frame a little bit better. So I could just use a patch tool, because I'm lazy, and just grab that area, and just clean it up like, come on, line up, and just do it again. Bloop. There you go. That line's skew. Let's fix that. I don't like skew lines. There you go. Cool. There you go. See, and by just removing the little random branches that creep into the frame, we can give more focus to our subject, because that in the end, that is what we want to do. We want to give more focus and attention to our subject. And in this case, the subject is a really cool artwork. I like art. Artsy stuff's really nice. I like it. So yes, just Alan, keep in mind that you do need to do perimeter patrol, as I say it, and just make sure on your edges, especially when you've got a white back wall like this at the top of your subject, that white wall stays nice and even across the frame. If there was a tree coming up from the one side, that would be fine, because that tree would be the entire thing on itself. But if it's just a tree branch like poking in there randomly, then it just creates a point of distraction. So always keep that in mind when you do take your photos. If something is in the very edge, just remember you need to just remove it. Secret location, do you think the leaves blend left corner is confusing? Yes, we're getting to that part next, Alan. So when you have things that creep into your perimeter, as well as an example, if there's one, those all create little points of distraction. Very easy to remove it, literally takes a few seconds to do that. Now the next point will be in the top or the bottom left. Now the bottom left, it's got some weird stuff going on, a lot of random distractions. They are easy to remove, but I wouldn't remove them because they're part of the entire scene. I would edit them. Now by edit, what I would do is I would lighten them up a little bit and drop the green saturation just a tiny bit. just to even them out a bit. Now the reason I would do that is so they can also have detail, because the right hand side's got detail, so the left hand side should also have detail. Hey Alan, I see you resized your photo appropriately for Facebook. Thank you very much. You resized at 2048 on the longest edge. Very well done, my friend, very well done. I like it. Yes, so when we come to removing distractions to keep more focus on your subject, you can also remove small stickers like those in the background. Because yes, they are there, you wouldn't normally notice them, but they do add to the frame. So let's remove that one quickly. We'll grab our little patch tool because I'm lazy. And bloop, she's gone. There you go. Nice and easy. See, it just helps clean up the entire scene. It just takes a few more minutes. So I would normally recommend grab a cup of coffee and then just jump into whichever editing software you like to use and just do a little bit of cleaning up on the scene. It does help quite a bit. But this left hand side, even though it is distracting, it is not as distracting as you would think. So yes, just adding a little bit of brightness into it, just bring out a little bit more of that detail might help quite a lot actually, because it will just showcase the subject in the environment much better. So leaves in the bottom left, bottom right, these are much better compared to random leaves at the top white area. So for this, you could have also just taken a few steps to the left and included more of the left distraction little thingies they built there, and that will also help you frame it a little bit better, because if you take a few steps to the left, you can actually then get rid of the stairs, because the stairs get more of a distraction than these poles. By just taking 1 or 2 steps to the left, reframing, taking a photo again, you can actually hide the stairs just out of frame. Or you can even just take 1 step to the right, reframe again, and hide the stairs behind the mask. And it might actually turn out quite well. But yes, it's not a bad photo at all. The color version does look cool. I've got no idea if these are the actual colors of it, but it is a lovely bit of art. So much detail. I like it. Very nice, Alan, very nice. But yes, so there's something that they call the walk-up photo. So the walk-up photo is when you come to your first scene, you see the thing, you take the photo, you leave the scene. A lot of people do this. It is normal for a lot of people to do this as well. But what you want to do is you want to take that first photo and then keep an eye on your scene. See how different the light gets when you move a little bit, or how you hide different things when you move, and how you showcase more things when you move, and then just continue shooting. At a phase like this, I would spend at least 45 minutes just so I can get the correct angle, the perfect angle, include and exclude the perfect amount of things out of the frame, or not perfect, but just get the subject to look a little bit more different. Because the walk-up shot, which a lot of people do, is they just walk up, they take a photo and they're done. Don't do that. Just take some time, explore the scene. This is a lovely subject to photo, but you also just want to maybe take a step back so you don't chop off the top of the sculpture, because with sculptures you want to see the entire thing sometimes. But with people, it's fine to normally chop off the hair around there-ish. It's normally fine. But for sculptures where you want to see all the detail, or all the finer details of it, and just see what's going on with it, sometimes it's good to just take a step back, take a little bit wider photo, and then you can always just crop in a tiny bit in post if need be, because 20 plus megapixels on a camera, you're more than fine with just cropping in small segments on a photo as well. So there you go, Mr. Allen. It's a lovely little photo. A bit of cleaning up work, maybe hide those stairs if you can. Next time you're at the location, just like take a step and just shoot again. But it's nice. It's a lovely little sculpture thing, and it's nice that you resized correctly, because you can see when I go to the other photos which were not resized correctly, if I start zooming in, they lose a lot of detail very fast, because I've got no detail. But you've resized correctly, so Facebook didn't touch any of your details, which is why it is so important to resize correctly when you export. I did talk about that earlier in the video, so it's all good. Very nice shot, Alan, very nice. I will pop down to Cape Town, have a coffee, and you can tell me about it. Haha, oh, very nice. Run, don't know about this Party I'll crash. That's fine, Zip dude. You're more than welcome to always jump in. Yeah, I decided to do it today because last week was just a mess up. Couldn't get to anybody's stuff, unfortunately. But Zip, while you're here, timestamp this and I will quickly find some of your photos and then we can do some feedback on your photos for you quickly as well, because I know you like the feedback. So let's have a look. That's one of Mr. Zip himself. Save. Hey Zip, you got a new logo. It's nice, I like it. Very elegant, I must say. And let's save this one as well. Saved. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so Mr. Zip, I shall now grab your photos. So if you have other stuff to do, just remember this timestamp and come back later on and just check it out again. Not a problem at all. So we're gonna grab this one and this one. Open. That's Mr. Zip, and there is a subject. Hey Jay dude. Hi Jay. I see you. Ha. Okay, so Mr. Zip, this photo, it needs to be balanced slightly a little bit. So with your subject placed like this, you've got some empty space on the side, which you can always crop out, or simply just take a tiny step to the left and reshoot it again to reframe your subjects. And the reason I say that is this empty space doesn't really add or remove anything from your photo. So if it doesn't add or remove anything, you might as well crop in a bit tighter to bring more focus to your subjects, because we always want to make the primary thing our subject. So any empty space in a photo, unless an empty space adds to your overall scene, just cut it out. There's no need for it at all, because just by chopping or coming in a little bit closer, we can bring more attention to the, oh, don't want to chop your signature, it looks so cool. And a little bit from the left hand side, right hand side, sorry. Oop, there you go. See, it gives more attention to the subjects, because all the bits we've removed now are redundant. They don't add to your main subject, they don't remove from your main subject, so we might as well just chop them. They don't do anything, so just chop them. Always easier to do as well. Now, it is also important to remember, when you take photos of subjects, male subjects especially, and they wear nice jackets like these, if they keep buttoned up when they hug somebody for a photo like this one, then your jacket will start to do this weird pull thing like that, which can be fine, but overall, if you want a cleaner photo, you can always just ask them to just unbutton real fast, get the jacket looking all nice, and then retake the photo again. In regards to editing, what you can do, Zip, is you can zoom in a little bit and just work on your eyes. Now the reason I say that is, if we do a adjustment layer for hue saturation, grab the little eye tool and just desaturate the eyes slightly, and that side as well, just slightly. There we go. And let's just apply this to the area. Am I white? Yes, I'm white. There we go. There we go. There we go. Cool. There you go. Now it looks much more natural, because when you have people that spend a lot of time in the sun and things like that, their eyes do tend to get a little bit of a yellow tint. So the easiest way to fix that is to just grab your hue saturation layer and just desaturate those yellows in the eyes just a tiny bit, because that tiny bit of desaturation you do will help your photo look much more natural as well. So that's always very important to remember. So Zip, on your photos, remember, empty space that doesn't add anything to your photos, look cropping them out so you can have more attention on your subjects. Then also remember your subject's wardrobe. If he is wearing a very tight jacket, male subjects especially, and they hug somebody or shake somebody's hand or something such, keep an eye on the jacket. You don't want stretchy jacket lines like these, because they might look a bit odd. But yes, there you go, dude. That's a very nice. Let's go to your other photo, which is a photo of you. The glasses are askew. Should fix them. Joke. But yes, so when it comes to taking self-portraits, it is always very difficult to do. I always mess mine up, and I love messing them up so much. But on your portrait, it is a nice headshot portrait, but we can again crop in a little bit. So we're going to crop in a little bit that side and crop in a little bit from the top. And I'll show you why I want to do this. We don't want to remove the signature. There you go. See, so we want to crop in a little bit. I just want to balance these out. That's more or less the same on both sides. There we go, crop. Because this now makes it, we've removed some of that empty space, so it makes it a little bit more engaging, because this photo is a really good photo for marketing your services, because you've got your little signature in the bottom corner, which is a lovely little signature, and it doesn't distract us from the subject because the signature is placed well. It isn't placed in a random weird spot, and the signature isn't standing out too much, so it is placed in a very good spot. Editing wise on your photos, you can look at bringing up your shadows a tiny bit. The reason for this is so we can just see a little bit. And awesome trick about jacket buttoning. Yeah, it's always important, dude, when you work with subjects, especially subjects that wear jackets and things as such, just keep an eye on how their body's movement affects their clothing and let them adjust it, because it saves you time when you edit. You don't need to scream at them or sit there with a freaking brush and fix everything. You can literally just fix it when shooting, and it just saves you so much time as well. So keep that in mind, Mr. Zep, that you need to keep an eye on what your subject's wearing and how their clothing reacts to what they're doing, especially with your event photography, so that you can get nice looking clothes on your nice looking subjects. And eyes, always very important. So in regards to this photo specifically, if you raise those shadows just a tiny bit, you can get a little bit more detail on your portrait, which would be cool. And I see you also going gray like me, which is why I shaved. No, I shaved because I had a corporate client and I need to look all nice and shiny for that. Just one of those things. But now we get to do the fun dodging and burning thing on glasses, which is very important. I am now brightening using some dodging, and then on the vice versa, I'll also use some burning on the glasses themselves. There we go. Because it is an accessory, so we want to make it look as good as it can. So let's grab the top as well. There we go, and all the way to the back. Now the reason we want to work on the glasses like this is just so we can make the glasses themselves look really good as well. Because yes, the photo is about you, the main subject, but we can also do a little bit of work on the glasses, just get them to fit nicely and just look better overall as well. So let's get the before. No, not this one. Yes, this one. Right click. So notice the glasses on your subject. So let's go zoom in a little bit, scroll that way, and open this one. So as you can see, wrong way. Oh, that is doing bad stuff. That is doing way bad stuff. I cannot zoom on my browser, unfortunately. But yes, so notice the glasses. Just by darkening them down slightly, they blend a little bit better, plus they look more clean. And that is very important to remember, that when you do use flash photography as well, glasses are very difficult to work with because of your reflections. So chin up, chin down to normally get rid of those reflections. But also you need to pay attention when you edit, so you can edit your glasses appropriately and just get them looking correctly. Because especially with glasses, when you take photos of glasses, sometimes what happens is the light does weird stuff and makes that little hole where the eye is either darker or much brighter compared to the rest of the skin tones, which is why dodging and burning is so important. You can zoom in, use your dodging and burning on that specific area where the glasses are, and you can use that to correctly balance the skin tone from the skin around it to the skin inside the glasses area, which is important to do because some people's glasses, when you take photos, they've got weird tints and stuff on the glasses, which will make the glass area itself very dark. Just using a little bit of dodging and burning can fix all of that for you. Super easy, super fast. But there you go, my friend Zep. Dude, it's always nice having you around as well for the thingy thing. I kept it nice and fast because I know you're busy and you might need to run again. So let's find somebody else's stuff. There you go, that's Zep. Zep was on a shared photo which I shared. Ha! I shared my own post. I'm weird. Let's refresh again because people might have posted some more stuff. Then we can keep going down on the list. Let's keep going, keep going, keep going. There you go, Alan's photos still lost. Okay, cool. So that means nobody's posted any new photos. That's perfecto. Let's go down, let's go down. Mr. Stanley was lost. And this is Mr. Fred, some event photography stuff. We like event photography. Event photography is super fun. And it looks like he's used a flash. And the flash might have been on camera if I look at that catchlight correct. Yes, it was an on-camera flash and or a pop-up flash, which does mean I get to show you something cool. There you go. So on your camera, wait, let me just put my lens someplace it's safe. There we go. So let me make my face big. Hi, face. On your camera, this is a Canon D600. We have a pop-up flash. Now, your pop-up flash, let's just go back to this picture, zoom out, there you go. So your pop-up flash will create very harsh light. It's just one of those things. This thing makes harsh light. But we can soften that light down very, very easily on a pop-up flash by just doing this. We've got a pop-up flash, we take some white paper and we just put it in front of it. And that will soften down the light for you. It's literally as easy as that. And what that will do is, the reason why it is so important to, let me just put this lens on here as well. Ugh. Big lens, big boy. Move you out of the way. There we go. Let's go back to the picture as well. So the reason why it is important to soften down your pop-up flash or your speed light as well, because the same thing works. You can just take a piece of paper and put that on the front of your speed light, but you can also buy adapters for that. I'll make a post about that later, a little bit later on this week, and that will help you soften down the light, which will help you get better skin tones. And better skin tones, we like better skin tones and softer light just overall because it just works much better. So as an example with this photo, because the light looks a little bit harder, we've got a lot of highlights all over the place, all over all the skin tones, and they do make it look a little bit odd. So just balancing the light out a little bit more by softening it down by just putting a piece of paper or cloth, lens, like my lens cap cloth thingy. I like using this one because let me show you why I like this one so much. Make my face big. Camera, go on, pop open, there we go. So the reason I like using my lens cloth is I can do that on the back side of my pop-up flash. There you go. See, no need for a rubber band or anything, and I've got soft light, easy as pie. Then I can just do this. See, soft light, well, softer light at least compared to what you would get if you just had a bare bulb. So keep that in mind, that if you do event photography and I need to keep this lens safe. Come on, there we go. Oh, my baby, my Zeiss. I like this lens so much. But yes, so in your event photography, when you do use flash, if it's on camera flash or your pop-up flash or anything as such, just diffuse the light with either a lens cloth or a piece of paper or anything like that, just so you can get a little bit softer light. That little bit of softer light will go a long way when you move towards your doing anything as such. So we're going to skip this photo because he did post two of them, and this is the better one out of the two photos. So especially with event photography, it is very, very difficult to get your subject to be active. In this specific case, it is a DJ. So DJs, normally they fiddle and look in front of them, which makes it difficult to get a really good shot of them. You can always just wait for them to finish fiddling and wave at them so they can look at you and smile, and then take the photo. That way you're not distracting them from what they're doing, and in return you're getting a nice natural smile which isn't forced, and you're just getting a more engaging overall photo. Because once they start to work on their equipment, it becomes very difficult to get a nice looking photo of them unless they're very active. So active equipment working would be hand goes on equipment, other hands in the air, and they're dancing along with the music. Much easier to do stuff then. But for this specific subject, I would have just waited for the lady to stop touching the knobs and then just go hi and wave like a moron, and then she would laugh and look at me, and then I would take my photo, because that allows you to do quite a lot of stuff. So as an example, when I work with younger subjects, I have unicorns like these ones, tiny little unicorns. I almost dropped the pink one, and the purple one, and all manner of random stuff like that, because all of these things help me distract or pull attention away from something somebody's doing, and allows me to take a photo. The same thing with when you're working with small toddlers. You can take a watch like this one, put it on your arm, and when you want to take a photo of said toddler and get them to look at the camera, you can shake your arm, take a photo, because they will be drawn towards the noise and towards the light. Same thing with when you're working with subjects at an event like this. Just find something which you can distract them with, which doesn't distract them from what they're doing, but allows you that split second or 2 seconds of them engaging with the camera, and then take your photos. Because remember, you're shooting digital. Because we're shooting digital, we can literally take I can just keep taking photos. It doesn't matter. It doesn't cost me anything to take photos. Maybe a bit more space, but I've got a lot of SD cards, so I don't care about space. But yes, so to get more engaging event photography photos, just remember, wait for them to finish turning their knobbies or doing their stuff, and then just wave at them or do something funny, and they will look at you, give a natural smile, take a photo. All done, easy as pie. You can spend a minute or two around the DJ station just waiting for that, and just get it done. Because as soon as they're busy and you take a photo with flash, you can distract them, they can make a mistake, it can pee them off so much, and they will never give you a good photo again. So just keep that in mind. Timing is very important, so you do not distract people at the event from stuff that they're doing, especially DJs. Because if you take that photo and she gets startled and she twists that knob all the way to the left, all the way to the right, it can basically destroy all the sound. People are going to be very, very, very pissed off at you for doing that. Keep that in mind. It's very important that you time your shots appropriately when you're working with events where people are doing live performances of things as such. You do not want to distract them from a performance or just be a pain in the backside. Be polite, be nice to people, be funny. People like that for some reason. I've got a, let me show you. I've got a unicorn cup. I've got mini unicorns. My cup goes with me to my photo shoots. That's the type of person that I do, and the type of things that I do to make sure my clients are nice and relaxed and that they have fun, because that's very important. So you can get nice and natural expressions and get subjects to engage with the camera. Very important. So that's event stuff. I do enjoy doing events. Let's see what is next. That was Mr. Fred. Mr. Fred, just do a little bit more and you can do a lot more of what you have. Hey, a self-portrait. I like self-portraits. I never get them done properly myself. Oh, this is a good example of just taking a few steps. So sometimes the biggest difference that you get between your photos looking good and looking really good is just taking a few steps. As an example, for Mr. Tafadzva, I'm so sorry, I am saying your name incorrectly, but as an example of this photo, you've got a lot of cool street lights in the background. Now, street lights give you more light because it's available lights, easier to use, just makes things a whole lot easier. So just moving your subject into the road or yourself, aligning your camera down the road so the road makes a nice little leading line like this. Let me open up my very high-tech drawing skills. There we go. My paintbrush out. That's my paintbrush. So this is the top view. That is the one side of the street. That is the other side of the street. This is your street lamp 1, street lamp 2, and this is the light that it throws out, and that's the light that one throws out. So what you want to do, you will be green subject. You want to stand more or less right there, looking this way, with your camera sitting, you're going to make it blue, camera sitting that side, shooting towards you. any height, doesn't really matter. Now the reason for this is those street lights are quite bright and they will allow you to shoot at lower ISOs as well. When you shoot at lower ISOs, you'll get better overall quality on your photos, but the light will just look much better and smoother and just overall just more pleasing as well for you when you take your selfies. So yes, just a few steps into the road would sort out so much. If you don't have a tripod and you just need to do it from this location, you can. Let's move this. It looks like that. So there you go. And your camera is positioned here currently with you standing green there. So all you need to do to get a really awesome light is take a few steps that way, angle your camera so it's looking that way, and take the same shot again. It's just as easy as that, because that way you'll get into the good light, which will help you get more light, which will just look better overall for you when you take your selfies, especially if you do it at night time like this. Keep that in mind. Also be safe. People are weird at night, like really weird. People are weird. People are very weird. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Mr. Ralph, he's posted many photos. Let's open them all up. And hey, Mr. Nah, that's fine. It's 1, 2, 3, Mr. Ralph. 1, 2, and 3. So all 3 of them are quite different, and all 3 of them have got something odd on them all. So I want to save this one. This one we can save as well, so it's easier to draw and doodle and do stuff. Save that one as well. Let's go Photoshop. Photoshop, open. Let's grab those 3 photos. 1, 2, and 3. Open. There you go. Are we done? Yes, we're done opening. Cool. Which color? There you go. White. White's good. I like white. Now, for the first photo that he's posted 3 of them. Excuse me. Always remember that your background is as important as your main subject. So with the sky, that normally happens if you pull down the highlights a bit too much. It gives us a very orange glow or just weird artifacts all over the place. So it's very important to remember that when you do edit your photos, keep in mind what the background is doing. If your sky goes like this, it might be an indication that you might have over edited on your light. Now I see you did use flash, which means you can balance out the exposure quite easily. All you do is, before you add your flash, you switch off your flash, you expose for the entire scene, you place your subject in the scene, you switch your flash on, and you take the photo. This way your scene and your subject will be balanced much better, as well as the light will just look much more pleasing. Because currently the way that it's been shot, it looks like the background might have been a afterthought. So the photo was taken, background was edited in post, so it might create some weird artifact areas like that one in the top left corner. Apart from that, subject engagement, always very important. This looks like the like we spoke about earlier, the walk-up shot. If there are more photos in the selection from the specific scene or area that is shot in, I would have posted a different photo which would have been a little bit more pleasing for the subject herself. Because when the subject looks down like this, we do get these little lines here. They get more pronounced. Ooh, that's a bad draw. There you go. Those little cheek lines, those ones right there. When you look down quite a lot, they become more pronounced. When you look up a bit, they become less pronounced. So it's always important to keep that in mind, that when you do work with your subjects, that you get them in the most pleasing position for them. So in this case, chin up, look at the camera. That's a really good one, because it will straighten out these lines for you very nicely and just gives you better overall skin tones and stuff to work with. Very important to remember that you need to angle your client's face appropriately, especially if you're seeing these little bags. Yeah, subjects don't like them that much. They'll never tell you, but they don't like them that much. So next, photo. No, I don't want to say it, go away. There you go. So convenient photography. That is an interesting signature. Let me put it on the other photo as well. Yes and no. That's an interesting collection. Okay, so on this photo, a scratch. We might want to remove the signature out of the way. Now, the biggest reason I say that is when you add your signature to a photo, there's no right or wrong about it, but if you do add your signatures to photos, you might want to move them to places where they do not distract from your main subject. Now, when you plop your signature right next to a subject like this, that does become distracting, especially when your signature has a whole bunch of colors in it. But from your signature, you can also drop the icons, because I can't click on them. They don't do anything, they're just there. So you can always remove them to clean up the signature a little bit as well. Now, what you could do with the signatures, you can move it from here, where it's a little bit more distracting, to the bottom, in the middle, like that. It would fit a whole lot better as well. It would remove the distraction right next to your subject's face, which is very important to keep in mind. You do not want your signature to distract from the subject, because it's just bad. We want all the attention on the subject. Signature is a afterthought for people viewing a photo. So that's that one. Not a bad photo. Pity about the signature. Would move that. This photo is next. This one is also quite fun, but the light position needs to change a bit, as well as the time of day, unfortunately. Yes, you do not have control of the time of day when your subjects become available to shoot, but it's just one of those things. So in a case like this, I would find a different location to shoot in the same premises. Just move around a bit more where I don't get the back sun at all, so that I'm in control of the light, because you're adding light. I can see it. There's full light in the eyes. So your light was on the top left of the camera with you shooting camera straight, so it's off camera flash. So in this specific instance, you could move your subject to a different area in the environment that you're working with. I can see some more fabric on the right hand side, so there was a scene set up on the right hand side. So maybe move the entire way that you're shooting. Currently subject, let me do it like this, subject you. So all you do is you just rotate so that your subject's showing the other way, and then from that you can then get a better angle to work with, which doesn't have random sky peeling through, which does create some distraction. But it's also important to remember that because your subject is wearing a orange/yellow headpiece, that will also blend into any yellow and or orange backgrounds. As an example, the sky, the sun is setting more or less, so that light that it creates, that orange glow, which is really good for skin tones, might not be the best to have behind something that is orange and or yellow, because it will just blend everything together, which might make it a bit of a problem. Because when things blend together, you struggle to see the detail, and we like detail because we use expensive cameras or really nice lenses, so we want to see all the really nice detail. So keep that in mind. For this specific photo, it's not a bad photo. I would rotate everything, just rotate it, find a different angle to shoot at, just so I can keep the detail on the headpiece, as well as just get a better overall scene by just rotating things around. Now, apart from that, also remember to not chop off tippy toes or fingertips. Tippy toes especially in this case, because the dress also still goes on at the bottom. But now we've chopped off her front foot, which looks a little bit odd. So rather always in a case like this, zoom out a little bit or take one step back, and it will just help you have a better overall frame. And you can still crop in post, because remember, when you post to social media, you can only post 2 megapixel at most. So if you shoot a 20 megapixel or larger camera, that means you can still crop quite a bit and still post it, and it will still retain detail. Very important to remember. But yes, change location and don't chop off tippy toes on this one. It's very important. We like tippy toes. Tippy toes are cool. So, right, hi Zeb. So let's go to the next one. Apologies. Hey, Mr. Mutang. I suck off his name. Let's open his photo up. He's got a lovely little studio photo. He does some really cool work. Now, when it comes to your studio photos like this one, save image. Let's open it up. Open. Where did, there it is. Hi, image. I'm on white brush, I want black brush. There you go. Cool. So it's very important that when you do photos like these in studio, that you maybe change out the background to something different. White is good, but the problem comes in that when you work with silver on white and you use flash photography especially, then things tend to blend in together a little bit too much. So for this one specifically, Miss Africa Unite South Africa 2022. Nice, very nice. So for this one specifically, all the accessories are blending into the white background, which does happen, especially when you use flash photography. They will blend in and you will not be able to see them properly, especially here at the bottom. The sash is also blending in, and that's got an edge on it, so it's fine. So in the case where you work with white and silver, you can always just change the background to gray as an example, or when you edit the photo and you shot it all, you can come in and actually reduce the exposure on the metal surfaces using dodging and burning, which will then allow them to not blend into the background that much, because it does happen quite a bit when you shoot white with bright accessories on a white background. Then things will start to blend in together, which makes it difficult to see all the finer details and things as such as well. So keep that in mind. It's very important that you use the appropriate backdrop with your subject when you take photos, so you do not get things that blend in very well together. For this shot specifically, I would have used a fashion gray paper backdrop. It is a really good one. I actually have it's standing in the corner, so I can't really show it to you, but it is like this. It's gray like this. See? Nice, easy gray. Make it small again. And that gray would work much better with this specific subject. I wonder if I can make my brush go gray. It's more or less like that. Super. It's a little bit too dark, but just as an example. My painting skills are bad, but yes, just as an example, having access to all the different, let's just change this back to black. There we go. There you go, black. Yes, so remember, keep an eye on your silver and things as such, and also keep an eye on what's blending into your background, because your background is as important as your subject. Once you have an inappropriate background, or one which allows things to blend in together, it might be time to start thinking about moving your subject forward a little bit, adjusting your lights a little bit, and then shooting again so that less light falls on your subject on the background. So for this shot as an example, if we take our lovely little doodling skills, let's just delete all that. Delete, there we go, cool. So there you go. So if this is our subject, come on, there you go. No, that's a bad spot. If this is our subject and this is our camera angle that we're shooting from, and our light position is here from what it looks like, more or less. So keep in mind, when you position your light like this, all the light will go onto your subject. I missed one, but it will also go onto your background, which will make your background very bright, because it's a white background. It reflects light quite well. But what we can do to sort this out very easily is, let's just undo this and just add the background back in again. We can just take our light and move it off center a little bit to there. It will still give us a really good light, but now what will happen is less light will fall on the background, which means your background will not be as bright, which means your bright areas will not blend in together that well, which means you can get subject separation still and still retain your silver color and all that type of stuff on your white backdrop. Because once you blast light directly from the front onto your subject, it will go past your subject onto your background as well, which means any white on white will just blend together. unfortunately. So just changing the position of light slightly so it does make a big difference when shooting white and silver on white with flash photography. Keep that in mind when you do that stuff. Very important. You don't want stuff to blend in too much. Okay, let's go to the next one. He's a cool dude. He takes some really cool photos. Let me show you quickly. See, he does really cool stuff. See, so this is cool. It's another photo that he's done. It's nice and grey on white, which looks awesome because nothing's blending in, nothing's getting missing or such. Here as well. Perfection. Perfection. It's very nice. He's a good photographer. He does some really cool stuff. Nikon D10 8513 ISO shutter. Okay, so that's an interesting setup to take this photo with. So let's keep. Wow, that's the motion blur. Why? Married Miss Krokamp. I'm bad with names. I cannot pronounce them to save my life, but yes. So let's open this up. So even though this was shot using a 85 f1.8 lens, we can see clear signs of motion blur. So that normally you can see it in the hands there quite easily. Let's change that. In the hands easily you can see it, shoulders you can see it, even down to the legs we can see it, not that much, but you can see it there as well. Now the reason this happens is very low shutter speeds. In this specific instance, instead of dropping my shutter speed that low, I will still aim to keep my shutter at 1/100. So 1/1/100 on the shutter, and then just bump up my ISO as need be, because we do have an 85 f1.8 lens if I read it correctly. Yes, 85. Check ISO shutter. Yes, so in this specific instance, she took the photo and she lifted the shadows when she edited. So instead of doing that, just shoot and expose correctly in camera, so you do not need to lift your shadows in post. Because as soon as you start to touch your shadows in post, you'll start to introduce a lot of digital noise. So instead of doing that, just shoot at a higher ISO. You will get noise, which is fine, but higher ISO noise is better ISO or better noise for your photos compared to raising shadows, getting noise from your shadows. Unfortunately, with a photo like this specific one, with the shutter speed being that slow, it does mean that unfortunately you will get motion blur from a subject moving, camera shake from a camera taking a photo, but we can fix it by going to adjustment layers and going black and white. I mean, there's not much else we can do. But black and white works much better for photos which might be a little bit blurry, or photos that might be a little bit out of focus, or even photos with higher noise. Black and white just seems to accommodate those things much better compared to just being a color photo like this. Because a color photo is fine, but color noise does tend to be a little bit more distracting compared to just having black and white noise, because black and white noise looks really good to the eye still, which is important. Keep that in mind. So on this specific shot, I would force my shutter speed to be 1/100 always, never lower than that. Doesn't matter what you do, because high ISO and getting noise in your photos is better than having a out of focus photo. Keep that in mind. Do not want a photo that is out of focus. You want a photo that is in focus, even if it is a little bit noisy. We can work around the noise. You can denoise very easily these days as well, so it becomes very easy to do. This photo as well, even though it does have noise, we can still denoise this in Lightroom or such, and it will still clean up really well. So it's always important to keep that in mind, that you can shoot at higher ISOs easily, but you can't fix an out of focus photo. You cannot fix a photo with motion blur. It is not possible to do, but you can work with high ISO, because it just adds a little bit more to it as well. So keep that in mind. Not a bad photo. I would have forced my shutter speed on it and just raised the ISO to 3200 and such. and just work from there. That might have been the easiest, unfortunately, especially in this location. But behind there I do see some light. There's my brush. I do see some light in the background, so repositioning the subject is always also a really good idea. But me personally, I would just take a flash along for a ride and just use some light. That's the easiest thing. It is so inexpensive these days to buy a light. I mean, even this light here was like 2,000 bucks or something. It's like not that expensive for what you get, and just add some light to it. I mean, that's the entire idea of it, that you can take your really nice camera, shoot at low ISOs, shoot at the appropriate shutter speeds, and just add your own light. Especially in darker scenes like these, it becomes really easy to add light. You can use a 8200, a Godox V1, or any one of those ones, and it will just sort things out for you. It will make it much easier to get lower noised photos. Plus, the flash will help you freeze the motion a little bit better, just in case. So that's what I would do. I would just add my own light, just make it work. It's much easier. Hey, Mr. Stanley sent me a message. Stanley, I will read your message as soon as I'm done with this one. Okay, so let's go down to this photo. See, this one used light. This is So. I'm so sorry about names, dudes. I am bad with them. So. Oh wow, that's a tiny photo. I'm not going to be able to do much with that, unfortunately. That is so small. Wow. Okay, so this is a really good example of allowing yourself to use a speedlight or flash, in this case, to get a proper exposure when it's darker outside. So for this photo, if you had the same speedlight and just added some light on it, we would have been sorted. No problems at all. But that also means we get to drop our ISO and get some really nice clean photos, which is good. But this photo, it's too small, I can't really see too much. But from what I can see, subject looks fine, the exposure looks fine as well. I might just edit and remove this pole because it does look a little bit odd sticking out that way, and this one as well, just because they are in areas which makes it very easy to remove them. I wonder if I can even work on this photo. It is very small, unfortunately. So let's try and open that one up and have a look at it. There it is. There you go. Cool. So we can just grab our patch tool, make it nice and easy for ourselves. And move it out the way. And that one we can grab as well. And just move it out the way. Look, patch tool will fix it. And just grab the power line. Just move it out the way. Unfortunately, with a small photo, it becomes very difficult to fix stuff because it falls apart very easily and very fast because you don't have a lot of pixels to work with. But yes, there you go. See, so just taking a few seconds and the little patch tool in Photoshop, we can go from having some weird distracting lines on our photos. We can remove them, clean up the background a little bit, and just keep attention on our subject much easier. And also remember, when you export bigger files for social media, just more detail then as well. When you export, resize to 2048 on the longest edge, and it will just give you really good photos to use on social media. But this is a little bit on the small side, making it difficult to get stuff. Okay, let's go down. Romeo, he has done a background replacement on this photo, it looks like. Yes, that looks like a background replacement. Let's save this photo, because background replacements are fun and you can do some cool stuff, but it does also mean you need to have your light correct when you take your photos and stuff as such, just so you can get the correct stuff for shooting. So as an example, this photo is fine, but due to the fact, where's my brush? White brush, there you go. So if you're going to replace the backgrounds, always remember that you need to, it looks fine, but you need to make sure your subjects are standing correctly for your light. So this is a fine photo, but I would have done it like this. Instead, chopped out the bottom. Now the reason I would have chopped out the bottom is we have a plastic chair that the person is sitting on, which doesn't really add to the background which was replaced, because this purple background which was replaced looks really good. But the problem is, because we've included the feet, now the background replacement becomes very complex, because feet make things more complex. Because where you're putting the feet on, if you just change the color of the background, it's going to look a little bit out of place, unfortunately, because the feet are not on anything. Best way to do this is to take half body shots like these, or like crop them there, or half body shots like these, with the background being replaced, which looks much better when you exclude the feet and the seat from your replacement, because the light still works well. This looks like it was done with Adobe's Generator Full from the looks of it, which does do a really good job, but it does skip or miss some things, unfortunately. So for this one, I would have been a little bit closer on my crop, which would have helped me to exclude this entire bottom area. And when we exclude the bottom area, we are left with the main focus on the subject, which just looks better, because unfortunately this chair doesn't do the subject or scene any justice. So we might as well remove it, or in this case, crop in closer. Keep all the stuff that has been done and just remove that white line, crop in closer, which will give us more focus on our main subject, and will just look much better overall. So let's move it to the side. There you go. So we can see his nice little signature, perfectly placed, white, doesn't distract at all. Very nice. Now the signature there, that's good. If this was here, would have been bad, but there, it's good. So for this one, crop closer, exclude this, because that does not add anything to what the subject is wearing or the background replacement that was done. Things just do not fit that well. So instead, clean it up a little bit, get it done. Very nice. Let's go to the next one. This is Bowie. He's got a photo of, open up, what is that of? That looks like a little birdie, but that is very low resolution again from the looks of it. Let's open that one up. Wow, that is tiny. Unfortunately, because it's so tiny, we can't really see the detail in the bird at all. That's why I always say, when you export properly for social media. Export at 2, oh, that's the incorrect brush color, 2048. When you export on the longest edge at that size or resolution, you get the properly sized photo, which will retain all the details when you post on social media, which is very important. Now let's remove that. In this specific shot, there isn't much detail that I can see, so it makes it difficult to say do something, because there isn't much that I can see, unfortunately. Maybe a different camera angle would have been cool, because if you go to the left and down a little bit and shoot this way, you can use the water line itself as a leading line, or lines inside your frame, which then allow you to bring more attention to what's happening in the frame. Your two subjects. That's all that I can really say about it, because unfortunately I can't really see too much detail due to the very small resolution of the photo, which is 609 pixels big. Wow, that's tiny, unfortunately. And when it is that small, they do pixelate quite fast, especially when you want to see detail on them, unfortunately. But overall, I would have shot from a different angle, gone left and down a little bit, so that I could use these as my lines in my frame to draw more attention to my two subjects. It is difficult though, because birds don't really work very well together, and they will just fly off very easily. Just one of those things. Nice photo, interesting location. Oh, let's find next. Wait, same person? Oh, he posted multiple ones. He posted a lot of photos. Holy hell, how many did he post? Let's open them all, find the best one, and work from there. That might be the easiest. The birdie one isn't really doing him any justice, unfortunately. This one looks fine. They all look very tiny. Yes, they are all tiny photos. This is much larger. This as a black and white would look so cool. Let's save that. And this was even smaller than the previous ones. Yeah, unfortunately, the biggest thing for this specific photographer is the resizing of the photos, because there is such a small amount of detail on these photos. You can't really see any of the facial features or anything as such as well. So I would recommend that when you resize your photos to just have them larger, because you can. I mean, it's just a little bit of data more for it, and then you can be sorted out. This picture as an example, let's see how big that one is. Open. That is 406 pixels. That is tiny, and as soon as we start to zoom in to see any details or give any feedback, unfortunately it just falls apart. So definitely for this photographer, I would say export larger photos. It will do your work justice. Now there is another photo where I said this one much bigger. This one is appropriately sized, and this now allows us to do something cool. This as a black and white would look really cool. The reason this looks better as a black and white is because black and white is a very timeless style of photo, especially for street photography. Black and white works really well. The orange glow is cool, there's nothing wrong with it at all, but I would have gone black and white, made this a print, and sold the print to people, because street photos, they're fun to work with. And not much you can say about street photos though, because every scene is different. You can take a step to the right as an example, help you exclude some of this bright spots, so you can have more focus on your main subjects in the scene, which is also cool. It's literally just taking a step to the right, re-angling your camera, focus and shoot. Takes a second or two, all done. You can also go to the left and shoot, where you can frame up your main subjects and then use these buildings in the back as extra points of focus for your background to just make the overall scene look a little bit better as well. But it's one of those things, it's a street photography photo and they are very dynamic, moving and such as well. Normally you would find a spot, you have your scene in mind, and you would wait for something to move through your scene so that you can then capture that scene with your subject inside the scene. It's just an easier way of doing street photography and just learning how to set up scenes and working with scenes and just getting stuff sorted out a little bit better as well. But it's not a bad photo. I like this one out of all the ones you posted. Left you a cool black one in your DM. I saw Bruce, I saw the DM come through, but if I check my DMs, I have to move this thing out of the way because I've got like I've got a lot of stuff in my DMs. Give me a sec, let me quickly check it. Cool, open on that screen. Ha, there's Bruce. It's got a snake. Oh no, it's a tiny photo. Open photo. Let me show you something which is very sad, Bruce. So when you inbox me a photo on Facebook, the following happens. Facebook will take your photo and it will resize it to 205 pixels, which is no detail at all. Yeah, unfortunately. But it is a really cool photo. I can see it in my inbox much better when I can see it on this. So let's see if I can pull this over. Let's see. Pull it over. Nah, it's still very, very tiny, unfortunately, which makes it close to impossible, because unfortunately Facebook resizes inbox photos so much. But what you can do if you want to send me a photo is you can send it to me. Let's see if I can do it like this. You can send me a WhatsApp and send it as a document to this number. That is my cell phone number. You can find it in my information on my page and such as well. And you can send your photo as a document. Because as soon as you send your photo as a document on WhatsApp, it will retain all the details and not be resized, and allows me to see all the cool stuff. So you can literally just go to my page, check my information on my page, and literally just my number, email, everything is in there. You can just get a hold of me very easily, very effectively, and we can get your stuff sorted out. Oh, very nice. Let's find another one. So unfortunately for Mr. Bowie, his photos all need to be resized appropriately for Facebook use because they're so small that they've lost a lot of detail. And it's got some good shots, but the problem is because they're so small, they've retained no detail at all, and you can't see any of the lovely detail that would have been on those photos. So definitely would resize them and just get things looking much sharper and better as well. Here's a photo from AJ, which looks to be some smoky stuff. I like smoke stuff. Hey, my phone just pinged. There we go. This looks so cool. Let's save it. Save. That's saved. Let's open that one up for Mr. AJ. Where is that photo? Bottom left. There you go. Lovely. We've got a lot of detail. That's so nice. Okay. First thing, Mr. AJ, when you do watch this is your signature. You need to work on your signature. If you do use a signature, that's perfectly fine. But notice the white edge around the black part of your signature. As well, notice that the text on it has blended into the background as well, which does happen. For that, I would have moved this signature over to the center. There we go. And not only move it to the center, but also just go in and make sure my PNG file removes all these white edges along the edges of the entire signature. Because having those little white edges on it does make it stand out a little bit too much, and once your signature stands out too much, it starts to take attention away from your main subject. So it's always a good idea to make sure that your signature doesn't take attention away. So you can literally just take your signature from here, make it a little bit smaller, clean it up a little bit, and put it in the center bottom like that, and it should fit much better. It won't create a point of distraction and just make things look so much better, so much more cleaner. Okay, now onto the photo itself. We can always remove these small little points of distraction on the background because they don't add anything to the background. They don't remove anything as well, but just by removing them we can clean up the scene a little bit. So we can take our patch tool, we can select them and just quickly clean them. It literally takes a few seconds. All done. No need for anything else other than that. Now, apart from this, you see the fringing or color distortion or artifacts. Ooh, that's too much. Artifacts on the subject's belt buckle, as an example. And there as well. And on the chain as well, I can see it quite clearly as well. So those are normally the same as what you would have if you shoot on a high contrasting scene, lens wide open. Because once you shoot your lens wide open or such, then you start to get artifacts, especially on your background, high contrasting edges, metal surfaces especially. You normally get green fringing or on the back and purple on the front for your lens fringing, unfortunately. Easy way to sort this out is literally just to take your lens and stop it down a tiny bit. If it is on f2, just go f2.2 or f2.8 and presto, it's all gone, cleaned up, all sorted out very nicely. This does look like there was a light on the background. Whoa. A bare bulb light on the background, yes, to lighten up the shadows and stuff, which is fun. And a flash from the front. Now, when you work with flash, the cool thing is you can close down your lens a little bit and just add a bit more light, and you would get much sharper photos, as well as you would remove these weird artifacts on the belt buckle and places like this metal chain where it also has the purple on it. And the earrings is fine because the light from the back adds to the earrings, which makes them look perfectly fine. So yes, remember, very important, because you're adding light, you can just take a lens, stop it down a little bit and get much more clearer photos, as well as get more detail. Very important after you do that is to always just move your signature to an appropriate spot and clean up your signature, because it does look a little bit distracting having a black signature with a very small white border all over it. It just doesn't fit very well. Also, due to the fact where the signature is placed, we've lost some of the signature, which does happen, which is why if we move it to the appropriate spot, like here as an example, then it shouldn't blend in that much. It will still stand out, but it will be in a much better position to just fit the scene better overall. But yes, good photo, very well resized, lovely subject, lovely smoke. It's always fun playing with smoke. I do actually have, I can't open that because there's lights in the way. I've got 2 red smoke bombs I still need to use. No idea for what though, but I will find something. That's a little closer. And let's go to this one. And wait, let me check, because that might have been Bruce that sent me some WhatsApp stuff just now. Let's have a looky. Where is my WhatsApp for PC? It's not that side. Is it this side? Nope. Ah, that side. There you go. Let's check WhatsApp first. My WhatsApp PC stopped working. I'll do a follow-up video. It's easiest. Nah, sucks so much. And this is a lovely little photo of a little miss. This was shot with a Canon M50 using a 50f 1.8 AD200 inside a 95 softbox using Lightroom to edit. Very nice. Let's save this. There we go. Let's open this up. There we go. Not bad size at all. So he was using a off-camera flash, the AD200. AD200 is a really awesome flash to use, or strobe slash flash. It can do a lot of stuff. So that thing, it can do cool stuff. But now it's very important to remember, because you're controlling the light, it allows you to adequately set your camera settings to get the sharpest photo possible out of your camera without sacrificing anything, because we're adding light to the scene. So we can drop our ISO all the way down to 100. We can set our lens to f5.6 or f8, which will give us much. Let me just turn down the volume on my mic for the background noise. There we go. That should help a little bit at least. Apologies. The battery thing just switched on. Make it a little bit higher. You want to go -5. That should be fine. There we go. So, because you have AD200 inside a very nice softbox, or octabox in this case, might be, it's an i5, so it should be an octabox. It allows you to control the light and your settings. So 125 on the shutter, always, or higher. ISO 100 because you're working with flash. And then your lens, you can be at f5.6 or even f8. And this would have been a sharp as nails photo. The reason I say that is, from what I can see, some sharpening might have been added, but I can't see all the detail, unfortunately. And once you add too much sharpening when you edit, your skin tones start to look weird, like they're a little bit grainy or a little bit too sharp. It does happen quite a lot, especially when you sharpen when you export. For some reason it likes to add that a lot, but I can see that his lens might have been wide open, because I can see some green fringing on the background. On contrasting edges, I can see a slight green tint on the edges, which means he might have been at f1.8 or f2 or even f2.2 on his lens. So just stop it down a little bit, use your flash to compensate for your new settings, and you will get crystal clear, perfect photos every single time, which is nice. Yes, having a blurry background is awesome, but if you want a blurry background and no fringing and high quality photos, you're gonna have to buy a very expensive Zeiss lens, which I would not recommend you do. The 50 f1.8 is awesome for stuff like that, but just keep in mind your 50mm f1.8 lens gets very sharp at f5.6, maybe f8, and that is the sharpest that the lens will ever get, and it is really sharp. Even on this Canon that I've got this side, or the Fujifilm I've got this side, all my lenses, I always stop them down because I just give better quality, much sharper results as well. It's just easier to work with. Because I add light using flash, So I can set my stuff where I want them to be. So I always want to be at the perfect settings to get the perfectly sharp, perfectly clean photos every single time. Easy to do, very easy to do. Subject has got nice engagement, love the eyes. They've got a lot of engagement with the camera, but on the eyes we can see purple fringing. So we can see them on the between the black and the whites. We can see the purple fringing quite easily, and this is due to shooting the lens wide open and having high contrasting edges, which is why it's so important to stop your lens down to avoid this, as well as get sharper photos in return as well. Very much can recommend, give it a go. We've been now live for a bit more than 2 hours. Apologies, a lot of people want to eat. Yeah, let's do 1 or 2 more and we'll call it evening. So let's run through these fast. 1, 2, 3. That's a really good photo. Like that photo. Let's go down, let's go down, let's go down. That's look fine. Let's refresh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do 5 in 5 minutes. We'll do super fast. Let's double check stuff again. That's my video. That's me playing. Just see if anything else popped in. Balance added on another photo. Scroll down. So many comments. Open that map as well. Okay, let's go fast. This one we've covered. We're good to go. This one, exposure way too much. White balance is a little bit too much as well. Lens is at the appropriate setting to get really good stuff. Watermark is appropriate there. But what you want to do is subject that has a hand, just laying down, not doing much. Just let them bring the hand up slightly so ever, so you can get the entire hand in frame, or take a step back, camera tilt down slightly so ever, get it nice and done. But light is a little bit much. That might have been a on-camera flash that I can see from that. And remember what I said earlier, if you're using a on-camera flash, just take your lens cloth, camera, put it in, tuck it in the little opening, and there you go. You've just created soft light. Nice and easy. No problems. Very nice, very nice. Switch it off. There you go. Very easy to do that. Softer light will just make things much easier to work with as well, especially on this photo where everything is a little bit overexposed. So when editing, just bring down your shadows and your highlights a little bit, and it should even things out. Shadows are your friends. Do not remove all your shadows. Cool. Next one. This is a creative edit. So creative edits are hard to give critique on because they are works of creative. So I can only give you some pointers to help you improve your scene, and then you just add your creativity to that. So as an example, on the scene, bottom of the thing, we've chopped off the foot in a weird angle. Don't chop off feet or fingers at weird angles. Don't fit that well. Next, this blanket doesn't fit with the elegant red dress. Maybe swap it out to something else, or use a smaller blanket which will then be covered by the entire dress. Should fit much better for the entire scene. Overexposed top left, perfectly fine, nothing wrong with it because it is a creative style photo. Subject, we never want to see up the bat cave when it comes to female subjects. Head tilted down slightly so ever, shoulders up a little bit, perfectly fine as well. Love the scene that you're working in. It's a good scene. Next one, you're doing this fast because people want to go eat. This one, white balance is way off, camera angles off. Now, the reason why I say white balance is off is notice the skin tones have gone yellow. This is normally a very good indication that you might have messed up your white balance. Easy and fast way to fix this is go into Photoshop, Lightroom, whichever one, take your white balance slider, move it to the left until your skin tones even themselves out. Apart from your skin tones, what you also want to do is level your camera and take your clone stamp or brush tool and clean up the door a little bit, just so your scene looks a little bit more neat and tidy. There you go, nice, easy, fast. Next one. This is an awesome photo. I like this photo. It's awesome. It's not bad at all. What I would have done with this one is just rotated the subject's shoulders. They're currently at this angle. Just rotated them back slightly so ever. Head towards the camera a little bit. Perfect photo. Exposure. Spot on. Vignette is fine because it is a focused light, so it's not that bad at all. Highlights on the subject is a little bit bright, so you might want to either close down your lens a little bit or drop the power on your flash a little bit more, just so you can retain those details and the highlights on the skin tones. Next, this is another photo from Alan from his secret location. Awesome photo, Alan. A little bit wider would have been cool, because that way we would have included the other arm on one side, as well as not chopped off the fingers on the frame's right side. Fujifilm X-H2 16 to 80 f4. Lovely combo. The X-H2 files are really detailed. They give you a crap load of dynamic range as well, oddly enough, for APS-C, and that lens is a lovely lens to use. I will actually be putting that same lens on the X-T4 that just arrived today, so I will most likely be doing the same thing. I gotta love it. So on this one, Alan, I would have gone just a little bit wider, for the simple reason you've got a lot of detail on this figurine or statue, especially with the shoulder cannon mounted on the one hand side, the sword or fist blades as the Predators normally have on the other side as well. Going a little bit wider just helps fill the scene with your entire subject a little bit better, which in overall helps us see more detail as well. Especially with the X-H2, you've got such a high amount of detail that just going a little bit wider would do it so much justice. Nice shot though. Take it, same secret location. I need to come visit so we can check out this secret location you have. It looks so nice. Okay, let's do one more check. Making scurva. Oh, that sounds tasty. I'm hungry though. Did somebody post the scam thing again? Yes, I need to go back to moderating real fast, because it's been 2 hours and people are going to post weird stuff. Okay, let's just quickly do another check, and then we should be done for the evening. Left you a cool black one. Yes, I know, but unfortunately Facebook has killed it, Bruce. I'm so sorry, but you can just send it to me on WhatsApp, and then I'll just type a nice little reply for you, give you some feedback on that as well. Okay, let's keep going down, and that seems to be all of the stuff is for this evening. Very nice. Scroll. We covered them all, boys and girls, and everyone else watching. With my face peeking in. There you go. So thank you guys. It is awesome having you all join me for the randomness, which is me, and helping you guys just learn 1 or 2 things. But for now, I say it's a Monday, we go have some coffee or something stronger. We need to clean our camera gear. We need to just have some fun, relax, keep growing on your skills. You guys have posted some really awesome work as well. Minor changes on a lot of this work, except for, I think it was, I'm not going to say a name because I am going to butcher it, except for the one person that just needs to resize his work better. This one, Bowie. Apologies for your name, but yes. He's the only one that really had a larger problem, but he's more than welcome to inbox me anytime, dude, and I will go through your work with you step by step, so we can just see how we can get you resizing your photos correctly and just get everything sorted out for you very nicely. But yes, thank you people for joining. You're all very nice, very awesome. This recording will stay up forever and ever, and I will grab my Godog's hat, go make some coffee, and have a good one. Ow. Hit my hat. Anyway, hope you guys have an awesome evening. Thank you for joining once again, and I shall catch you all real soon again. Stay safe, stay warm. Well, tomorrow's going to be a bit scorcher, but anyway, you know what I mean. Have a good one, dudes. Ciao, ciao.